First, I wanted to talk a little bit about the library, what we do, and kind of dovetail into some non-traditional services that we offer. So, Oklahoma Transportation Library, we are the Oklahoma Department of Transportation's official library, and we're uniquely positioned in that our DOT contracts the University of Oklahoma for library services, and we are located on the campus of OU. So while our main client is ODOT, we're still employees of the university, giving us a lot of access to a lot of resources that maybe other state DOT libraries may not have. That gives us some unique opportunities we can leverage that has definitely turned into some non-traditional services that we're able to offer. You can see a picture of myself and our other outstanding librarian, Katie Whitman, as some of you may know. That's our building there, Carson Engineering Center. I wish we were the whole building, but we're actually a tiny little room on the second floor. If you walk by on any given day, you can see our little faces in there scurrying around trying to get stuff done. So I always like to say we are small but mighty. So, but we do have around 19,000 items in our collection. The usual, our DOT research reports, FHWA reports, research reports from across the country. We also have a pretty good historical map collection. And if anyone attended one of the SLA Tran collection showcases, we actually did a collection showcase on that map collection, which was pretty cool. So I'm going to talk about three non-traditional services that we offer and kind of how we got there as well, because it really leverages a lot of skills that you may not think you have as a librarian, but you for sure do because, well, we're librarians and we know quite a lot. So all right, very quickly moving through. Hopefully the screen transition is working. One of the first projects we did was helping our DOT with a knowledge management project like Rosalind. How this came about was the manager of our research office was invited to an ASHTO meeting in Oklahoma City, and one of the topics was knowledge management, and that got them thinking, well, what is this KM stuff? How can we leverage this? Who would know about KM? Maybe we can ask our librarian. And sure enough, they came to us and asked, you need to look more into this KM stuff and maybe how it can make things more efficient at our DOT. And so we were tasked with first starting a literature review, finding out what KM is being done in other states and regions, and see how we could transfer that to our DOT to help leverage things and make things a little bit more efficient. Because I don't think we are dissimilar in that we're facing a lot of brain drain. A lot of older employees are retiring and taking all that tacit knowledge with them, like the kind of things that they know how to do from years of experience, but a new employee coming onto the scene, it may take them years to get back up to that level of where that older employee already was. So we started off with, of course, a literature search, getting a survey of the land, and also we found there are a lot of different definitions for knowledge management. So we kind of synthesized our own definition and we came up with a variety of techniques to help workers quickly find accurate subject matter information and expertise to more efficiently answer a question, solve a problem, or complete a task. We felt that kind of encompassed everything that we wanted to do with this KM initiative. So we began working with a team involving representatives from ODOT's Office of Innovation, including a consultant working on CAM that works closely with us. And we've had a lot of projects related to that and spoken several times like ASHTO and TRB about our experiences. But some of the new things that we're working on I'll get into in a second. You can see below how KM kind of helps. That's kind of just basic information, sharing experience across the organization, reducing rework, mitigating risk of organizational memory loss. And so how do we accomplish that? How do we do that? Well, as librarians, we are knowledge managers by trade. Everything we do and everything we deal with every day is institutional knowledge, information, rather if it's written down as an SOP or if it's something contained in the noggin of a 50 plus year old person who's getting ready to retire and take all that knowledge with them. So the activities that we've been working on with the OTLKM group, including creating a lessons learned document, conducting a social network analysis, creating a nomenclature and taxonomy for searching, working on draft video scripts for KM topics for ODOT staff, talking about articles, FAQs, and interviewing employees to conduct knowledge capture to discover, how do you do things? How do you accomplish things in your everyday work? And also, what issues are you having in trying to find and access information? So first, I wanted to quickly go over the video topics that we've been working on. Again, we're working on scripts right now, kind of drafts of these videos, and this is kind of basic user level, entry level. What is KM? Why is it important? Why does it matter? And a lot of things are people are already doing knowledge management every day, and we just need to make them aware of that because anytime you bring something new into a department, everyone is always so overloaded. It's like, oh, great, another thing I have to do. But if you let them know, well, you're kind of already doing it, maybe how you're naming a file or storing something, just kind of leveraging that a little bit to make it more in line with a best practice. And you're going to help the whole organization. And also kind of demystifying it to let them know that no, you're not going to be less valuable because you're sharing your information. I know a lot of people like to gatekeep, thinking that, oh, if I'm the only one that knows this, I'm more valuable to the organization. But in the end, everyone likes a sharing community. I think that's why we all come together, with NTKN and with the Transportation Librarians Roundtable is to share each other's stories and successes and even our failures to let us know what works. And so helping, with these kinds of terminology, with videos and with things like that to demystify KM and just let everyone know we're kind of all in this together. And if you share with us, that's going to make the whole organization a lot more agile. So that was kind of long and short of our videos. The next idea was a social network analysis. And if anyone isn't familiar with this, it's kind of a topic of finding communication nodes. Like imagine you're in an organization and there's someone that everyone is going to and everyone is talking to. And we like to use, since we're in transportation, we like to use the hit by a bus analogy. Like if someone is taken out by a bus, and the very next day, and everyone was talking to that person, that node kind of falls away, and then people don't really talk to each other anymore. And so, how we accomplished this social network analysis was conducting a series of interviews of new engineers who were new to the department. They were doing their rotations across different fields, divisions. This example in the image was from the materials division. So, who are the new engineers talking to? Who's the main focal point? For example, in the top right, that big blue square. The larger the square, the more people are talking to that person, that individual. Parks, everyone is going to them, everyone is talking to them, and you can see the communications from them to them going out to different people. So if Parks was taken out, all those person that he's linked to, they may not have a replacement. They may not be talking to each other. Similar with Ryan, you can see in the left-hand corner, the blue square labeled Ryan. If Ryan is gone, if he, heaven forbid, gets taken out by a bus, or let's say leaves the organization, those other little nodes kind of drift away and may not be communicating. They may not have a focal point. So we found this social network analysis to be very handy of identifying who the key people were in the organization that people were talking to, and hopefully using that to identify people to interview for knowledge capture. You're obviously the person that people are going to. Let's talk to you and see what you know and maybe write some of this stuff down. So that was one of the things we did with knowledge management. One of the other things we like to do is partnership with university organizations. Since we're on a campus, we are uniquely positioned to leverage a lot of the goings on in different faculty like engineering department, construction, architecture, anything tangentially related to transportation. We try to wedge ourselves in there and say, hey, we exist, let us know how we can help. So that includes tracking down different professors. Who's teaching what course on transportation? Maybe there's a grad course that is doing a seminar and maybe they need resources or research. And you don't have to be located on a university to do this. You can just cold call or send out emails and you may have a 50% success rate, but at least as long as someone responds and say, you know what, I would like you to come visit our class, or maybe you can do a webinar or do a guest virtual lecture to talk about your library. Usually, everyone at least has 5 minutes to spare at the beginning of a class to let you come in, introduce yourself, and talk about the library and what you can do for them. We're also co-located in the same building with the Southern Plains Transportation Center. That's a Region 6 University Transportation Center comprising 11 universities across 5 different states. And the great thing about this is there are always PIs with research projects. And if there's something they need help with, some research they need, maybe they need a literature search done, maybe they need assistance in another area, or even better, maybe they need a co-PI or someone to help them with their project or even help draft a project. Because as librarian in your DOT, you are privy to all the goings on and everything that's happening in the world of research in your department. what are the trends, what are the topics, and you can leverage that. You can use that to help bring people together. Maybe a faculty or a PI needs a connection at a DOT, or maybe you're that glue that brings people together to help enhance the research or the output or the project. Maybe there's some outreach, maybe there's some research that can be refined based on what you have in your library or the things that you've been noticing, in your position. So as a librarian, you encounter so many people across so many different spectrums. You can be the glue that helps bring people together and also help support you, because a little extra funding doesn't hurt. Maybe you can find a PI that has a project with some funding. Maybe they have some funding to support the library, to support something. Maybe it's purchasing equipment for them that you can use as well. The odds, the sky is limitless when it comes to working with faculty, with their research projects, and you never know until you get out there, put yourself out there and try and see what other people are working on. Also on campus, there's university libraries. That's the conglomeration of all the different libraries on campus. And they host an annual University Libraries Day where they come and talk about the different libraries and everything that the libraries do on campus. And we were invited recently to present on our library last year at University Library Days. So honestly, find the organizations on campus at your local universities. Maybe it's the flagship university, or maybe it's a smaller university that could really use the extra help in putting on either a program or finding research or connecting with the faculty. Usually there's going to be a lot of folks who need help. So I think we're in a great position as a DOT library, or even if you're not with the DOT, if you're even in the corporate world, if you're a library or librarian of some caliber dealing with transportation, there's somebody who needs that unique set of information and skills that you possess. Lastly, I want to talk about conference planning and webinars. Since we partner with the university, we do a lot with our conference planning. We get invited to a lot of things to help plan. For example, Oklahoma Transportation Research Day. Usually, the committee of this is made up of a board of DOT folks and our university partners to plan the big research day. What are the big research topics, in Oklahoma transportation? And we've been invited to participate in that because of our work helping all the PIs and the DOT. And so serving on those committees, providing input, also you tend to get asked to present at those conferences. You can see under technical session 2 at 1:05 p.m. You can see Oklahoma Transportation Library. We're on the schedule. So again, see what conferences or webinars are being planned in your area and see if you can help out with that. Lend your services and maybe you'll get invited to present as well. This is an excerpt from our program. The first page of the program, you can see OTRD 2024, and they're little old me presenting in my big, 10-minute showcase of the library. So again, even if it's just 10 minutes of a full day program, that's 10 more minutes that you wouldn't have otherwise had. One of the other big events we did last year was Transportation Industry and Workforce Development Symposium. We got in on this. We heard about it and were invited to help and plan it since we'd helped so well with the Research Day event. And this was a big event bringing together students, industry, and DOT partners. And it also coincided with a visit from the Office of the Secretary of Transportation for Research at USDOT. So that was, I'm not going to say it wasn't stressful, but that was a very exciting time for us to help plan and host and prepare that event. So we helped on the back end of that, helping with AV, audio, technical issues. I was in the back with my laptop, making sure that this hybrid event went well, on the team side, with our web links and everything. And luckily, wiping the sweat off our brow, it went pretty well. So the last event I wanted to talk about was most recently this April, a Transportation and Extreme Weather Symposium. Again, we helped out with that. We helped out with registration. No task is too small when you're volunteering and helping out with events like these. And so we helped man the registration desk, and we also helped with the ideation session. Ideation session was sitting around at a table, bringing together interdisciplinary practitioners from transportation engineering, weather, climate, and then stakeholders and rights holders, and talking about what your needs are. How can we help? And so we were representing the library at that event and also helping talk about workforce development issues, because as a transportation librarian, you are most connected to the transportation workforce in your communities. We also help with webinars. These are low cost, generally free events that you can put on. Do you know a faculty member? Do you know someone in your DOT? Odds are, if they're working on a project, they want to talk about it. So leverage those contacts, invite them to present on something co-sponsored by your library. It's free to do. Usually people want to do this for free. So let them, leverage that. See if there's a webinar program already at your DOT or universities. If there is, see if you can help. They always need help co-hosting this or moderating it. If there's not a series, offer to host one. It's really easy to do, to be able to say, yeah, I can do this. I can help out with that. And most people are excited to have that help. So very quickly wrapping up some lessons learned. Again, cultivate relationships from your network, from library school, universities, state DOT industry. You're connected with so many people, and odds are they need help with something, and they know people that can help you as well. Find out where the meetings and events are happening and grab a seat at the table at your DOT or university. I like to say a small seat is better than no seat. Wedge yourself in there. Oh, there's a meeting of this division. Can I sit on this? Always be on the lookout for that. And never be afraid to volunteer. If you hear about an event, be it a conference, be it a symposium or webinar, volunteer. It doesn't hurt. And then you'll get to know people who remember you and be like, oh yeah, they were great to help with. And I always like to say, everyone needs help with something, no matter how big or small, and you can be the bridge that can link that person to person or help that person find what they're looking for. So a lot of people don't know what librarians do, and it's your job to sell yourself. So like with knowledge management, workforce development, you can do all those things. Creating portfolios and catalogs of services you can show off, using the tools at your disposal. Don't be afraid to cold call, interview people, use surveys, talk to employees, see what their pain points are, and don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone. Lastly, it helps to have a supportive employer or boss who can say, is it okay if we close the library for me to go help out with this one event? Like, okay, leverage that. See what days aren't busy. See if you can get away from the office to get outside your comfort zone and go help out with something. And also review your contract and detailing your duties and roles. Maybe there's something to be expanded to increase your visibility within the department. So I know that was kind of quick, but wanted to run through that and share the activities we've been doing as non-traditional librarians. So thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Excellent presentations from all three of you. Wonderful insights, information. We are bumping up against the end of the hour. However, I am willing to, if anybody has any comments or questions for any or all of our speakers, I'm willing to take at least out and anticipate maybe one or two. Just do your show of hands, and I'll happily call on you. Go ahead, Shelley. Did you have something to say?
I actually just intended to use the applause reaction because those presentations were great. I don't have a question though.
Okay, that's fine. Just wanted to be sure. Well, let me say that needless to say, I was quite impressed with what each of you shared with respect to your experiences and everything, all of that. I think maybe in terms of a common denominator, if you will, I would say each of you really helped amplify just what I would characterize as the boundary spanning roles that librarians are uniquely positioned to play within their organizations or even among any number of stakeholders for those organizations. And I think that each of you really highlighted that. I think one way of underscoring it was something that Michael said during his own presentation, and I did write down the quote here. As librarians, we are knowledge managers by trade, and I think that just the valuable and vital need for knowledge management within organizations, whether or not everyone in those organizations appreciate it. I think the value of knowledge management is something that librarians don't have a monopoly on, but we certainly, it's safe to say, have gotten up the learning curve during the course of our careers, just by virtue of what we're about, what our focus is, and that kind of thing. And I'm so glad that not only Michael but also Jennifer and Rosalind made that clear in the experiences they shared. So again, thank you to each of you for sharing your important information and your experiences. It's one thing to relate information. It's quite another to have the experiences to back up what you have to say, and I think that's great. I don't know if any of the three of you have any final words or comments to share, but you're welcome to do so. It was. Go ahead,
I know
Jennifer.
I have to reach out to Michael. Everyone shared really cool stuff. So Rosalind and Michael, you both. That's where I get jealous because I'm like, oh, I want to start doing that. So always fun to hear what everyone's doing and what they've done in the past.
The same to you, Jennifer. I was so excited about the 3D printing and everything. It's like, I wish we had that capability. So I was writing notes down as the presentations went too. And I think the common denominator is like, I mean, partnering with local libraries, Jennifer, that you said, I mean, spot on, always partner, see what organizations are out there. I was glad to see that. And Rosalind as well, knowledge management, it's everywhere. Everyone needs help with that. So I think there's common denominators of all three of us. Like, we all know how to do this. So it's just expressing it in different ways. So librarians are special people. That's all.
There we go. Well, on that note, I think that's as good a note as any to wrap up today's TLR. Again, thank you, Jennifer, Michael, and Rosalind for your presentations, and thank you to all of you for taking the time to join us today. I hope you will be leaving here with some pretty constructive takeaways about the whole subject matter in general. We are just a couple of minutes beyond the hour here, so I don't want to keep all of you too long. Again, a heartfelt appreciation for your attendance today. And the next TLR is going to be on Thursday, May 8th. Please stay tuned for further information on that TLR. In the meantime, between now and then, there is another SLA Transportation Community Showcase on the previous week, Friday, May 2nd. And so hopefully you've received information on it, including the registration link, but keep on the lookout for other follow-up information as far as that showcase goes. That promises to be worthwhile as well. So I hope that everyone has a great rest of the day and a great rest of the week, and take care.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks. It was wonderful. Thank you.